you need to get off the cuttlefish and get into reality. Don't you?
Cute, a grown man playing flat Earth.
A grown man totally in the flat Earth sandpit all the time. Oh.
We need some chemotherapy now.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You just need to open your eyes. Just open up and let it in. Breathe and let it in.
What, you breathe with your eyes,
Flat
Bandy?
Earth through my
Hey,
through
Terry,
my
how you
nose.
got there?
Bandy.
I'm good. What's going on?
I don't
It's
know.
so
It's been
quiet.
pretty quiet here tonight.
Okay, we need to change that up, don't we?
Okay. What do you got? You got anything new?
Wow, look at that, what I just posted, Terry. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a horizon looking out over the ocean.
That's right. How far do you reckon that's away? What's the equation I need to work out how far that away is?
I don't know. I reckon that's about 12 miles.
12, you reckon? That's an interesting guess. You know, you could be right. Like, I'm not going to argue with it could be 12.
Somebody has to prove me wrong now.
All right, where's the equation, people? We need an equation to work this out.
You want it with or without refraction?
Well, you tell me what's in it, and we'll go with it. And when you tell me your equation, I'll soon correct you. All right, so you tell me your equation, and I'll correct your equation.
Well, the advanced metabunk curve calculator seems to do a pretty damn good job of it.
So you go with that one, do you? You go with that one?
Pretty reasonable as long as you put in all the variables.
Okay, so what variables are in there?
Something like sea surface temperature, the gradient, the temperature change over the first 10 feet or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, it basically goes into a lot of detail.
And you reckon that's satisfactory?
Reasonable. It's still dealing with a dynamic environment where you can't plot out every single point along the line of sight. But you can get it within fractions.
Within fractions, even though, as was pointed out, right, you haven't taken into account sparrow farts, right?
Right.
Salmon semen, right?
Yeah.
What about some seaweed drift? Did you take that into consideration? No.
In parts per billion,
Now,
we
why
don't
not?
give a flying fuck about those.
Really? So that has no effect whatsoever.
Billion? Less than you'd be able
Really?
to.
Less. So what's less? How much of a less don't we have to worry about? What? How many sparrow farts between me and the horizon?
Well, it's just we do know that if I'm in the Superdome, which is a giant football stadium in the U.S., if I light a match in there, then technically the temperature inside the football stadium has increased. However,
exactly,
in the reality of things, it's not something that would be in any way significant enough to measure.
And how can you quantify that?
I don't know. Quantify the match in a football stadium.
What's quantify mean, Bandy?
Oh, Terry, come on. Do I have to get out the dictionary? I just know how to say these words. I don't necessarily know their meaning.
Okay. Because I know more I can answer this. I'm going. Okay.
Stop breaking me so early, Terry.
Hold on, Bandit. We don't want to see your dick.
Huh? What?
What?
Laurie, how did dicks get into this?
You said something about the dictionary, right?
Yeah.
It's a book that's got words in it and then meaning.
Oh, so that's okay. So it's not a book of dicks, right? Okay.
No. Well,
You're not helping.
Whatever floats your boat, Laurie. Like if you want a book of dicks and that's what you've got on your bookshelf, right? Happy days for you, right? I will not judge. Well, maybe I'll judge you a little bit, but I'm not going to judge you a lot. Okay?
Oh, somebody just posted another picture of yours.
Boom. Look at that. Look at that. That is as flat as a tack, as far as the eye can see.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Down
Left
here.
or right, or the other axis, front to back?
I'm talking front to back, Terry. Like left to right, it doesn't look too flat left to right, does it? Right? But front to back or back to front, it's as flat as a tack.
What tacks are flat?
Ones that don't.
Yeah. Which
My
tax do you
tax.
use that are flat?
My tacks, right? I put my tacks in a forge and I make them perfectly flat. Perfectly.
I've never seen a flat tack. Could you give me an image? I'm not sure. Maybe it says something from your country.
I could give you an image, but you'd have to leave that with me, all right? I'd have to work on it. Because I'm sure if you used a little bit of compression, right, you could probably distort that image and make it look curved. Because we know the classic one that we're talking about, don't we? Hold on, we'll get rid of that one. What about this one? Look at that one. Why don't you guys ever show the table? That's very interesting. You never show how the table's curved as well. You only ever show the top of it. That's very interesting that you sort of crop it and just show the top of that image and never the bottom of that image. Why is that? Would that be called?
The center of it
Would that be
doesn't
called
have barrel
cherry
distortion.
picking?
Barrel distortion doesn't affect
Right.
the center.
Would that be called cherry picking, Myoc, when you guys
No,
crop
no,
that
because
image
that's the physical
and only show the
properties of
top
a
of
lens.
it? Come on.
That's the physical
Come on.
properties of a lens. Why would you?
That's the physical properties of a lens, that it makes things look curved.
Yes, in certain locations, we know how we can characterize how lenses work, and that's what you're suggesting.
How dare
Is not
you
how lenses work.
plagiarise my photo? But a good spot there, Myoc. A good
See
spot.
that photo? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. The horizon's got a curve in it.
Well, of course it does, left to right. 100% it will. Because that's the properties of a lens,
Not the center of frame.
Mm.
right? But there is no curve back to front at all.
Back to front.
The different
Front to
axis. What's that? The x-axis? Front to back?
Terry, is it the y-axis? It could be the z-axis.
No, Z
Who
is up and
knows?
down. Z is vertical.
Okay.
Y-axis, bitch.
I would say
Right.
Yeah,
X is directly
the
in front of you,
q-axis.
Y is left to right, and the Z axis is vertical, up and down.
X is left to right. Y goes up. My question is, why?
No, the Z axis is always the vertical axis.
I'm Googling.
Wrong.
Unless AutoCAD's got it wrong for the last 20 odd years.
So why do you guys crop that level image and just show the
Actually,
top
most
of
of
it?
the images I've seen have the table in it.
I've actually never seen the table in it. I only saw the table the
last
other day.
image was posted of it at 8:23.
The one at 10.
Oh, actually,
53.
that's the one you posted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the one I posted. Exactly.
Because guys like you will sit there and go, right? You see the curve? Right?
No,
But you see the
not a
straight
chance
lines?
was.
That
Now,
there's a curved line in
right.
between straight lines? Right?
Why would it look flat? Left to
Why
right
One
was.
curve in between
Why?
two straight lines. Right?
Now, why would it was?
How did I curve those lines to keep the other one straight? All right.
Totally incorrect. Right.
If your eyes were able to see 360 degrees all at the same time, it would be flat.
As a tack.
What is this flat tack you're speaking of?
You trying to attack us, Bandy?
Oh,
I never attack. I just speak the truth, Terry. You know this.
Okay.
They're curved.
Where's the curve?
Is this the item that you're talking of? Because it's a fucking dome.
They're thumbnails. What the hell are you posting thumbnails for?
They're
Thumbtacks. Thumbtacks.
Right.
Next, you're going to say pancake.
Thumbtacks are kind of pancake shaped. All right, there we go. X, Y, Z. Y goes up.
No.
Yeah,
X goes up.
Yeah, I found some thumbtacks.
So what were we talking about, Terry?
There's a thumbtack.
That could be a toe tack.
Oh, okay.
Not a toe tag.
Farmer, why'd you have to do one that's different to mine?
Because that's how it works.
Yeah, I know.
Hmm.
How come mine's wrong?
I don't know.
Nah, I think
Back to the drawing.
dumb.
Back to the drawing board.
Nah,
Zed's
Terry, yours
Zed's always
looks
been the
much
vertical
better.
I'm a 2D XY guy.
Oh, same here. In fact, that was a phone call I hadn't. That was part of the phone call I had earlier on.
It's funny though when they talk about they always talk about in photographs the z-axis is the background and foreground.
Yeah, I know. There's different images of different versions. Like the Y going up on that one. The Z-axis is going up on that one. Make your mind up.
Well, that's the principle I've always worked to because that's 2D AutoCAD. And the X and Y
It's
axis.
stupid.
And then when you make it 3D, Z becomes the vertical axis. And as I've been using that for 20 odd years, that's what I'm used to.
I've just been kicked off Arwen's stream. Done my good deed for the day.
Oh, good man. What and what truth did you bring to bear?
I told him for God to be a true statement, he had to present evidence of God.
I bet that went down a lot of Led Zeppelin.
Just open your eyes. Evidence all around you.
Which God?
I didn't specify. I'm so disappointed. I would have thought you would at least try to argue the point, but no, you just shut me off.
Have you ever tried
Argue which point?
That if you don't have evidence of God, then you can't presume to say that it's a true statement that God exists.
I just said, open your eyes and look around. There's evidence everywhere.
There's none.
Oh yeah, evidence everywhere.
Seek them.
There's none.
Oh, there's
Name
evidence
one.
everywhere.
Name one, Bandy. Tell me one example.
Stones.
What, the Rolling Stones?
Oh damn. Oh, they could have been sent by the devil, the Rolling Stones.
They had sympathy for him.
Mm-hmm. So they say. So they say.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the Stones were evidence of a pop music culture. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a right-hand rule for XYZ axis.
Right.
I don't know. I'm gone down a rabbit hole here for all the XYZ stuff.
World is a globe. World is a globe. Right.
Ollie, want a cracker?
Yeah, if, say, the Earth was a box shape, would the shadow it cast on the moon be semicircular or boxed shape?
Platu or Ratu or whatever. It's you're looking at it the wrong way. It's not the Earth's shadow. The sun could never get on the other side of the Earth.
Oh, the screws fall in space, but we debunked that. They weren't screws, Bandy.
Yeah.
How did you
Oh.
debunk it?
They were
Because
captive
when you
by-
have a
was it?
panel like in electrical,
Was it a thumbtack?
even panels on Earth, you usually have a pin. And it's a spring release pin, not a screw.
Mm-hmm. Do we?
Yep.
Yes.
We've got spring
Spring-loaded pin.
screws.
It used to be
Oh,
called
No, they're not a
screw.
screw. They're a pin. There's
Where?
no thread in it. There's no thread in
Where
it.
are these?
They're
on
like
my meter box?
They're like a quarter turn.
On my meter box? We could go test this right now.
The same principle as you on the old Fords, where you got the screw thing on your bonnet, where you turn it half a turn and the bonnet pops up. Similar principle to them.
Why are you?
I don't know.
We do.
It looked pretty screwy to me.
Well,
Right?
that
And
the
all
fact
of a
that
sudden,
if you pause the video and
a
look,
quick look. It was a quick look, and it's just like, oh my god, damn! I didn't mean to drop the screw in front of this green screen.
is that what you
I've
think?
really stuffed things up.
And if you looked at the video, Bandy, you can still see the pin in the hole.
Yeah, because it's
In the hole.
It's secured.
Oh.
He didn't drop anything.
So he just
Are you being an
thought he
arsehole?
dropped it.
Can you stop?
No,
pretending
he
to
was
be a
looking
please?
down at the next one. Because when you're in
Thank
zero
you.
G, your
There's the laugh.
movements
Thank you
are.
very much. Hello, Bandy.
The next one.
Can you please stop imitating chemo as well, please? That really is nasty.
What are you talking about? Imitating chemo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't imitate anyone other than myself.
I mean,
Right?
next you'll be going. You got to get there. That's it.
Long as you don't make chicken noises.
Yeah, you got to choke that chicken.
We know that you guys can't keep up with chemo's two-step, but don't feel bad about it. It's not bad. You put in a good effort. I acknowledge that.
You're doing it again.
Yeah, only a flat earther can keep up with chemo's two-step.
But you do. You do let yourselves down just a wee bit.
It's rich. Just broke my irony meter again.
Now, Dave keeps putting this picture up that looks quite all right to me.
I really don't know what he's trying to suggest with that. I mean, it's just
That
Next, you're
rocket's
going to tell
up
me
and that person's
rockets
standing
can
on
work
the
in a
ground with the
vacuum
yo-yo.
because they
Do you
push
want
off
us to tell you that?
themselves.
Do you want us to tell you that? Because we can if you want.
Yeah, well, hey, you could tell it to me, but you can't demonstrate it.
No, we
Rockets
have.
work in a
You-
vacuum.
You're just being silly now. There's a reason we use rockets in a vacuum because air breathing engines don't work there because there's no air for them. That's why we have to use rockets.
Really?
Yes.
Can you show me one official demonstration of a rocket working in a vacuum? Probably not.
Oh, geez, there's a few of them out there.
What? On
Google is
YouTube?
your friend. If you have a truly inquiring mind, you will go and look for yourself. But we
Okay,
know
then.
you're just taking the piss and pretending
Go,
to be a
go and
good
look for
guy.
rockets in a vacuum, and you'll find actual
On YouTube?
videos of people. Yeah, on YouTube.
Exactly, Terry. This is the problem, Terry. You yourself should want something a little bit more substantial than Cody's lab.
Whoever
Not just
mentioned
Cody's lab. I
Cody's
think
lab?
there's been a few others.
Okay, then there's
See, you
whatever their
even know where
names
to
are.
look for them.
Well, YouTube. You just told me to look for them on YouTube, so I know
So
exactly
he
where
said
to go.
YouTube. He didn't mention Cody's lab.
Now, why would I look on YouTube?
Ah, see, you tipped your hand there, Bandy. You
Alright.
tipped your hand too soon. Sorry, mate.
Really? Right.
What? You're the first one to mention Cody's lab. None of us did.
Yeah.
Because that's generally what's shown to me.
Oops! Look at this pair I'm holding. Oh, didn't mean to show you that. Sorry. Oh.
Why would they work in a vacuum?
Why wouldn't they?
Is the biggest question.
Why wouldn't they?
Right? Is the biggest question.
Do you know how
Why
rockets
wouldn't
work?
It's
Andy?
the most. Well, apparently they push off themselves.
And
That's basically, you could say it that way.
I mean, and
yeah, and what? What's the problem with that?
Yeah, keep going, Bandy.
and I was just asked, do I know how they work? And I said, apparently they push off themselves. Am I incorrect with the common explanation?
Yeah, but saying apparently doesn't mean to say you understand it and know how they do it.
No,
Well-
expand on that explanation a bit more, please, Cody.
That they push off themselves. Who
Yeah,
have we got here?
expand on that a bit more.
How would you like me to expand on it?
What are we talking about?
They don't know. Sorry, they
Well,
don't know.
Bandy
It
is
has something to
maintaining.
do with my expanding. So expand on it a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, expand on it.
that-
Yeah.
Bandy is of the opinion that rockets won't work in space, which is quite bizarre. That you can-
Well,
No.
I've never seen one, farmers.
What, a
you not
rocket,
watched some of the
or-
videos of the rocket launches?
I really feel awkward when
Alright.
boomers start acting like children now.
Well, yeah, I know.
See, now it would be really impressive if that demonstration was in a 120-foot tall vacuum. Now that might be impressive.
120-foot tall vacuum.
He's talking
Yeah.
about the ball and the feather vacuum chamber.
Well, it's a pretty big chamber, you know.
It's 122 feet tall.
There you go.
To be
I mean,
exact.
the idea that you want it to happen in a vacuum just illustrates that you don't know what Newton mechanics are, my dude.
Doesn't really demonstrate anything. It just demonstrates that I would like to see it.
None, but it demonstrates that you
Right.
don't know what physics are.
Well, I reckon if I was building a rocket,
Where would you start, Bandy?
well, I'd start off with a rocket and I'd go, what might space be? What's in space? Is there much in space? Maybe
No,
there's
hold on.
nothing in
Before-
space,
Lots of space.
right?
One of the things you
wow.
find out, like when rockets go up, we can tell like how fast they're accelerating, and the higher they get, the faster they go. The rockets perform more efficiently, even based upon the weight and fuel consumption. So we know that the less air, the better the rocket performs.
When they hit max Q, yeah. They throttle back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's There's a
Mhm.
great deal of it between your ears, Randy.
Look, that's not the first time that has ever been said, and it will not be the last time.
Haven't you heard
Okay.
when he's been standing outside on a windy day, he whistles?
This is true. That's why I wear earplugs.
The asking of demonstration happens after you somehow have like a firm understanding about what the hypothesis is actually trying to tell you. You're not understanding what the the laws of physics are, like Newtonian laws, and you're asking for a demonstration. I don't know how this will ever help you, man.
A demonstration would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but the demonstration without understanding is stupid.
Well, some people learn by seeing things. Some people learn by feeling things. Some people learn by reading things. I'm sort of all of the above.
Is Mr. Bandwagon Person a flat earther?
No.
Bandy, he's
He's
yeah,
bandy.
okay. yeah, he's Bandy. Yeah, I know. I was trying to think of the right one. I was trying to finish the sentence and I got stuck.
That's the best way of describing bandy. He's bandy.
And with Bandy, you don't get any boobs or butts, Phil.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's really sad. I'm lucky I'm not Mr. Bandy.
How do you do, Mr. Bandy?
I do pretty well. Phil, how's yourself?
I'm not too bad at all, actually.
You've actually recovered well?
Just don't mention
You
rockets
recovered
with
well,
Phil
Phil?
around, Bandy.
I can mention everything.
I've still got some challenges, but it's coming on.
Okay, well, good luck with all that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get to business.
Yes.
We can get to business, yes.
Now the niceties are over.
Yeah. So Mr. Bansor, you're not actually a flat earther, are you? Of course.
Why wouldn't I be? Did you see that photo I posted, Phil? Did you see that photo
With
that
the
I
flat
posted?
horizon?
Oh my God, it's gorgeous, isn't it? It's absolutely gorgeous.
And not only that, flat as a tack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I found that video for you, Bandy.
Why would you not expect it to be flat as a tack?
I expect it to be flat as a tack.
Well, we all would, Mr. Bansor. We would all expect it to be flat as a tack. You know why?
Goods.
Well, we would, because let's say you're standing in a boat and you turn all around you, isn't the horizon the same distance from you wherever you look?
Well, one would hope so.
It be flat?
Depends which eye I look at. If I look out of my right eye, it's probably a little bit further than my left eye.
Well, I mean, you might have some. You probably do have some wonky eyes.
Fucking flat out wrong. You're one of those guys that has one eye slightly higher than the other, or what?
Yeah, he probably does. Yeah. Exactly.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I told him, Phil, that if he had 360-degree vision at the same time, it'd be flat all the way around.
Exactly. I'm happy to share a little diagram with you, Mr. Bansor. I think you'll probably enjoy it.
I love your formalities.
And Bandy, I put that rocket match for you to learn how a rocket works.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So ignore the periodic table.
Ignore that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So on top of the periodic table, so you can see there that diagram. I know it's upside down, but
it's upside down, Phil. Hold on. I'll turn my phone up the right way.
Yeah. So you can see if you imagine you're the person right in the middle. Well, you're looking all around you. Well, of course the horizon's flat because it's the same distance everywhere you look. And then if you climb the mast of the boat, you'll see further. Well, obviously,
of course you will. Because you're higher.
Obviously,
Hello?
if you see further, no, you shouldn't in a flat if it was flat.
Of course you will. Because you're
no,
getting
because if
above
you
all the
can't see-
whale farts. Yes,
Because
when you get above the whale farts, you see further, Phil.
Look, if you can't see it, if you can't see something because perspective, and it's got to its vanishing point, why has it not still at its vanishing point when you climb up the hill?
Because I'm getting
It's even
over the
further
whale
away.
farts. I just told you.
You know that
right?
you know that the hypotenuse of the triangle is longer than the base.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really make sense, Mr. Mansour, does it?
Of course, it makes perfect sense. When you get above the whale farts, you are always going to see further.
You know, Mr. Bansal, you've got one thing going for you. You're an Aussie. So I know that you know what I mean when I say fair income.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Well, you're fair income.
That's really bad.
You're
Sorry, I
fair
didn't
income
hear.
bullshitting us.
No, not a chance, Phil. Not a chance. You cannot deny. You cannot deny when you climb up a mountain, right? You get yourself above all the whale farts. Right? So when you're above the whale farts that aren't interfering with your vision, of course you're going to see further.
Bandsaw, what do whale farts do to the atmosphere? Would they make it more dense or less dense?
Oh, now that's an interesting question. I'd have to actually do some serious scientific
They probably cause
studies into it.
even further. Yeah,
yes, it would make the atmosphere more dense. So if you were looking through a methane environment, you would see a increase in density. Hence, you would see more concavity on a flat Earth.
Bandsaw, do you get joy out of being so obviously dishonest when you talk?
Dishonest? That's a big call. That is a big call saying that I'm dishonest.
Just pulling our leg.
All right. But if you guys deny that I can't see further when I go higher because I'm getting over the whale farts, that you're dishonest.
Oh gosh.
You're
you know you would see less whale farts.
And you say you can
more
see
whale farts
something
if you were closer
that
to
you
the
couldn't
ground.
before by getting further away from it. That's just stupid.
No, higher up.
Yeah, getting higher up is further away from it.
Yeah, higher up is further away. Exactly.
And it's also higher up, and you're above the whale farts.
Further away.
Yeah, and you're further away. It doesn't make sense that something cannot be seen because it's beyond your vision. Going higher up, aka further away from it, lets you see it again. That's nonsense.
It makes perfect sense when I'm not as close to the ground.
If you're close to the ground, you'd see more of it.
No, I'm close to all that interference. Now, when I get further away from that interference, happy days.
All that whale fart would cause refraction. You'd see even further.
What, being closer down? No, that doesn't make any sense.
So what you're saying is whale farts make objects look smaller. Is that what you're saying?
No, you can't see them through the whale farts.
Obviously, the whale farts have nothing to fucking do with the fact that you can't see an object far away then, and that makes sense.
Are the whale's farts got particles, have they? Like, solid
So the whale farts don't have anything to do with the size of the object that you're looking at, and it goes so far away you can't see it anymore. When you go higher up and you can see it again, it has nothing to do with the whale farts that have nothing to do with being able to see it.
Of course it does.
And
when you change your
and Phil,
you
know the only way
second grader logic using second grader logic.
The only way you can smell a whale fart is because it's got particles in it. You should know this.
No, some gases actually do have smell. Oxygen has a smell.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Chlorine has a smell.
You know what oxygen smells like?
Yeah, I do. It's kind of like a.
I bet we know what oxygen smells like a lot more than you do, because it sounds like your brain is currently starving for it right now.
Oh,
no,
really?
So.
Come on. With the insult so early? That didn't take long, did it?
Actually, I had it.
There's a hallmark of a troll when he's looking for someone to insult him.
Now we all know when you change your angle to the floor, you can see more or less. Hence, putting your eyeball to the surface of a chessboard, you can barely make out this farthest square. So we know that things can be blocked with just by the angle, the acute angle.
So
Hold on, are you?
So who was that one who was saying that who was insulting me for no good reason at all?
Don't address my argument that I just made. Talk about who was insulting you.
Okay, so I was just going to tell
you.
you.
Jeremy, that's why no one's addressing it.
I'm just going to tell you how to make a really decent amount of oxygen. Okay, so get yourself a glass or anything like that, some sort of container, and put some peroxide in it. Especially if you can get round about 30% peroxide. Then just get a small amount, just like a tiny amount, a tenth of a teaspoon of manganese dioxide, and pour it in there. You'll actually be able to smell the oxygen coming off it. But mind you, keep away from any naked flames, okay? Otherwise you won't have any hair left.
The manganese dioxide shop?
Manganese dioxide's easy to get. Yes.
Anyways, bandsaw, that's what
I've never seen it in my supermarket.
No, you can get it from Livingston or one of those scientific places. It's very cheap too.
Oh, in a chemical supply store.
Yeah, exactly. So get some manganese dioxide. And
Where do I get that from? 7-Eleven?
No, you'd probably have to go to Livingston or something like that, and then get some 35% peroxide.
Will I get into a watch list if I do that? If I buy manganese dioxide, will I get into a watch list?
No. Of course not. No.
Oh, okay.
That's used a lot. Actually, you might be able to. Actually, you can try potassium permanganate. That's even easier to get.
Bandsaw, that's what you got to mention when you're making that argument. Tell him put your eyeball down to a chessboard. The angle alone will block out. You'll partially block out the farthest square. So we know there's nothing between you.
No, you won't.
Actually, come to think
of it, you won't.
There's more.
You can get all of this at the chemist shop.
When you're closer to the surface.
Yeah, that gets blown apart, Jeremy, because you can still see the end of the chest.
I'm not done talking to Bandsaw.
Let Jeremy talk, please. Be polite, one at a time.
We heard this argument. We heard this assertion before. He claimed it was evidence, and it wasn't evidence.
It doesn't matter.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
It's the fact that when you put your eyeball down to a chessboard and look across it diagonally, you'll barely be able to make out the farthest square because of the angle, obviously. Because when you lift your head up, you can see the back square fine.
Yeah, point is, though, you can still see the end of the chessboard.
See, it's all about the angle of the dangle, guys. It's all about the angle of the dangle as well, right, as whale farts. So we've got angle of the dangle and whale farts.
There's more atmospheric turbidity. Yeah, there's usually more atmospheric conditions closer to the surface. Yeah. The higher you get up above all that atmospheric turbidity,
really? There's
effect.
more atmospheric disturbance at ground level. Are you kidding me?
Scared.
Have you never seen a rain cloud before or a lightning storm?
Bro.
You're dumb, Jeremy.
Let's not start with ad hom.
Is Mr. Bandy related to Mr. Merle?
Oh no! We're in the same country.
I thought he was flat Earth Aussie Jesus, actually.
Okay. Oh, really?
Okay. What's wrong with Ross? He's a top guy.
No, he's a delightful guy.
He's absolutely insane. Apart from that,
he has some fantastic brewing tips.
If he was sane, I mean, he probably would be Jesus.
Come on. It's not sane when I just showed you a photo of the flattest horizon that you'll ever see and you go, huh? That's not.
Dodo.
I said it was flat.
I'm not actually referring to you, Phil.
Oh, okay.
You're the only honest one here, Phil.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Bandy.
Apart from
Bandy, what's his favoritism?
And Terry occasionally when he's not talking about tax.
Now you watch it. He's a Kingswood man.
Yeah, Bandy.
Kingswood Country was the best. Why did they
Yeah.
can that show?
Political correctness ruined a lot of TV shows, Bandy.
So back to your Horizon, Phil. What have you got for me? What have you got for me?
Okay, so the horizon all around you is obviously flat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, the as you go higher and higher, eventually the horizon will not be flat anymore. So if you were as high, for instance, as a high altitude balloon, then you're high enough to be able to see that that the whole thing is curved. But actually, I've got this little thing for you. Now, I've said this before. When I'm in Dubai, which is quite often, I love to stay at this hotel called the Burj Khalifa. It's a very, very tall place.
Mm-hmm.
And now, what happens that when the sun goes down, it gets dark down the bottom where the fountain is at the Burj Khalifa. Now, if you look up right at the top of the building, it's pitch black where you are down the bottom. But when you look up right at the top of the building, you see the sun shining still on the top of the building. That is just truly an amazing sight to see. It's pitch black where you are.
Yep.
And then you look at the top of the building and the sun's still shining on it.
We just
How
went
did
through
that
this with the
happen on a
angle and
flat
the
Earth?
turbidity and the atmosphere.
I've got it, Jeremy.
How could that possibly happen on the flat Earth when the sun's already gone?
Well, obviously, it's the angle and whale farts.
What?
All right.
Oh gosh!
Now that makes perfect sense.
I'm bothering with this guy.
No wonder why they started by insulting you, my dude, because you're coming
You
here
got
with
the
a clown face.
attenuation of light. You got the attenuation of light, the angle, and the
The
atmospheric
attenuation of
effects
light
that
makes
are
it dimmer. Jeremy, try
the
again.
atmospheric effects that are closer to the ground. There's probably more atmospheric turbidity down there.
You're wrong.
Ambiguous nonsense. Keep going.
I mean, those are all reasonable excuses.
It's not reasonable excuses at all, my dude. You're basically
Those are
inventing
definitely some
shit, man.
reasonable excuses.
It is not.
Attenuation
a
of light.
hard terminator
Isn't that a
line
thing?
between the area that's lit and the area that's in shade. So
Is
all
the
that stuff you
attenuation-
just said is nonsense.
Oh, by the
Is
way,
the attenuation of light nonsense?
It's not even
attenuation of light
reasonable.
makes
It's
it dimmer.
demonstratable.
It doesn't make
It's
a hard terminator line between
demonstratable.
light and shadow.
Bandy, there's one other thing I forgot to mention. When you do see the sun, by the way, because they have tours that you can actually take after the sun's gone down at the bottom, you can actually take a tour to the top of the building. So the first time I stayed at this hotel, I actually did that. Went from the bottom of the building to the top so that we could see the sun again. And you can actually see the sun. But you know the strange thing? The sun hasn't got any smaller.
Hasn't got smaller?
No. It was the same
But it's
size
further
as it was
away.
when it was on the ground.
It's further away. How can it not get smaller?
I agree with you.
Exactly. So it has to get smaller if it gets further away. But it does.
You know why it doesn't? It's because it just goes
smaller,
over
but
the
it's not observed
horizon.
to get smaller.
the
So
Earth
obviously
is
there's
If it
something wrong with what you think
doesn't
happened.
get smaller, it has to be magic. So are you saying now, Phil, that something that gets further away from me doesn't get smaller?
I don't think you're being hold on.
Talking about magic.
I don't think you're
What
being
are you, David
charitable here to
Copperfield?
his. Hold on, Jeremy. I don't think you're being very charitable when he's telling you it's not doesn't really get smaller, because the eye can't really observe the change of size or about the of the sun. Basically, yeah, virtually anything that you go further from, it gets smaller to your perceptions. But when it comes to the sun, you can't really notice the difference at all, and whatever you see is basically the glare of the sun. But yeah, we all agree that whenever you get further from something, yeah, it gets smaller. But you don't see the sun get smaller when you watch it down.
So what you're basically saying, because my eye can't resolve that it's getting smaller, it's not getting smaller.
No.
But it is getting smaller. But
it does get smaller,
but it doesn't look like it's getting smaller. Because I didn't think we were in the charity business.
The sun is simply dipping below the horizon. That's all.
Hold on. hold on. Now you're claiming it is getting smaller, so we must be able to measure it since you're making that claim, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Or
had
did
a
you just
filter
make
with
a
you,
baseless claim that
the
it is
sun
getting
does not
smaller?
change its size from anywhere in the sky ever, all the way down
So you're
to the
telling me when I
horizon.
get farther away from this object, it's not appearing to get smaller. That's crazy.
Well, you're not getting further away from it. How can you get away? How can you get further away from 93 million miles?
93 million miles. And
I mean, you
93
can get
million
away from
miles
the
and
sun by the
93
rotation
miles
of the
and 1
planet.
meter.
150
there.
million
And
kilometers.
further
How
away.
are you going to get further away?
Yeah.
How
I
are
only
you
have
going
to
to
be
get
a
further
meter
away from
further
150
away.
kilometers?
I mean, it's a very nonsensical argument coming from you two. Honestly. Like this is the dumbest thing you can really talk about when it comes to the flat Earth thing.
Total logical sense. We
It's
know in
actually-
reality.
It does make totally logical sense, but when we're talking about like micrometers and change, the thing that we can't really
Can you
observe in
prove
the
it?
eyes,
Can
it's
you
kind of
prove your
funny.
claim that the sun is or isn't getting smaller?
The thing is, it does get smaller, but the thing is,
Let's see the
you
measurement.
can't. I don't have any measurements in my pocket now, trust me. But the idea is, I would know it. It's logically consistent, my dude. It's out of necessity. It's logical, my dude. It's not about I don't know.
I can give you the measurement, but I'd need the numbers off Phil because he'd know.
I mean,
what
you
they
can
are.
look at you can look at different stars in the sky, for example, and they look very very small compared to the sun.
They look very small. So
Phil,
those
what's your
little
measurement?
twinkles. Sorry, Jeremy.
No, go ahead. I'm trying to get this measurement of how much smaller
The
the sun gets when you go up.
I don't know
there.
why you're so hooked. Hold on, I want to understand this the flat Earth concept a little bit more. Why does it matter how much it gets smaller? Because we're not contesting how small the sun gets on sunset or sunrise. We're contesting whether the horizon is flat or actually curved.
I'm contesting it. If the sun
Why are
works
you
like you
pivoting?
say,
Why are you
if the sun
pivoting?
wor-
It's nonsensical, my dude. You're wasting our time.
The sun
If
is
the
30
sun
arc
works like
minutes
you
in
say,
size.
and
It's always 30 arc minutes in size.
if the sun works like you say, and we've gotten farther away from it,
It doesn't. It has nothing to do with the sun, dude. It's a property of every object of your own perceptions and the angle that you basically see things. The farther you go from it, the smaller it appears. It's the laws of
If the
optics.
sky works like
It's laws of optics. It's not the law of the sun, my dude.
I gave
So
you
the properties of things, the properties of things affect our optics. Did you just say that?
No, I said the way we see things, the further they go, the smaller they appear.
It affects our optics. I'm sure you said that.
It doesn't affect our
it.
optics. Don't
rewind
use
it.
like vague statements as affecting our optics. It's very simple. The way we see things, the further they go, the smaller they get because of our optics.
No, I'm actually picking you up on your vague statements. Actually.
Because what happened is you can literally, because we can get, for example, an inflating balloon, okay, where basically the more we move away from it, we can increase the size of the balloon, and we can do it in a way where basically every time you get away from it, it appears the same size, but in fact we're also inflating the balloon. So forget about the object, we're talking about your own optics.
So what affects our optics? What
what
properties affect our optics?
It's the lighter rays, my dudes. The further the object comes, the smaller the angle, the smaller you see it.
So light can play tricks on our eyes, can it?
It's not the light. It's not playing tricks at all, my dude.
It doesn't play tricks.
Optics. No, it doesn't play any tricks.
So light, as it's coming towards us, doesn't play tricks with our eyes and how we see things at all.
When it comes to the specific instance, we're discussing when things get smaller, the further we go. There's no tricks in it.
No tricks whatsoever.
No tricks whatsoever.
Oh.
So we always see all the light exactly where it should be, right?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that statement?
The light coming off the objects. We always see those objects right where we should, right?
No, not necessarily. I'm speaking what specific point is about the size of the things that further you go from.
So the light's playing tricks on us to make objects not appear where they actually are?
There are some instances where in refractions or like you have mirages where the light is being refracting and reflected and being bent. That's different. We're discussing a specific point when we're seeing the sun and it's on sunset. Yes, it is a little bit tiny bit further from us, but we can't really observe it.
0.002% further away. 0.002%.
That sounds like a
Exactly.
measurable. We heard you. That sounds like a measurable amount.
No.
it does.
I mean, I don't want to postulate what technology exists that we can measure it, but we can actually take, for example, satellite pictures that we've launched into space and then look back at the Earth and the Sun, and you can see how small it is.
Jesus Christ, the sun is 30 arc minutes in size. It's been measured.
Cool, so it's been measured again. I just don't know exactly the, because I didn't look it up, but yeah, if you look it up and it's been measured, then yes, it's been measured then.
What tool would you use, Jeremy, to measure that 0.002% difference?
Does it really matter what tool? Are you pivoting again?
You guys are measuring one.
No, I'm asking Jeremy just to back his claim up that he could measure that difference.
He can't. Okay, he can't. Oh, interesting.
I wonder if he can or he can't. He claims you should be able to measure that difference.
You guys claim to be measuring 1/10,000th the width of a proton. So I'm sure.
Well, that's a different instrument, isn't it? That's a different measurement. Not pointing something into the sky.
Yeah, you should figure something out and let me know when you get the measurement of it shrinking.
I think you're being fallacious now, Jeremy. I don't.
We're not claiming you can measure. We're claiming you can't. It's your claim
of it shrinking because it's getting farther away from us.
It's your claim, Jeremy, that you should be able to measure it. So you tell us what you measure it with.
Your claim is Hold on. Let's get this straight. Do you claim that things appear to get smaller the farther they get away from you?
Yes, and as a fraction of how far they're currently away.
Okay, yes. Your answer was yes, right?
When the distance they travel away is a significant fraction of the current distance they're away, they will get significantly smaller. But if the distance they're moving away is not significantly different than their current difference, then they won't appear to get smaller. It's simple.
Okay, do things appear to get smaller the farther away they get?
If they have traveled a significant difference.
Can we yes or no? Because there's a next question to it. If you're not gonna play along, then I'll let Bandsaw have at you.
So the answer is yes, but it's by a fraction of the ratio of the distance.
No one wants to play along.
We're not going to tell
away from you, Jeremy. The sun has not been measured to get smaller as you go away from it. Case closed.
Basically, you're also red herring. Like we're not really discussing the change of the size, the apparent size of the sun, according to how many distance we get further from it. We're basically discussing the point that there is curvature. But I don't know, man, why you keep pivoting, dude. Is it like the curvature argument is too weak now, so you're pivoting to another argument?
So the sun
the
sun doesn't appear to get smaller; it just gets smaller.
No one says it gets smaller.
Of course, it gets smaller. It has to get smaller. It gets further away. It
not by a measurable amount. Not by a measurable amount. All measurements have an error.
It doesn't get further away. Holy shit! Mind blown.
So you have a baseless claim that it's appearing to get smaller because you can't measure it.
Who said it appeared to get smaller?
If everything in reality is smaller when you go further away from it, and the sun doesn't get smaller, then why would you assume it's
no one wanted to play along because you're faking the funk on this.
Hold on, Jeremy is being honest now. Jeremy, please, someone ask you a question. Who made that claim?
Every Glober in here, or unless someone disagrees with that.
Wait, hold on a minute. The discussion started like around 30 minutes ago, okay? And we pivoted to multiple things. Who made the claim?
Why are you trying to derail
Exactly. Keep it on track. So, the sun gets further away, so it would have to appear to get smaller.
No, it would not have to appear to get smaller.
All right. Well, it
would not have to appear to get smaller, no.
Oh, so does it appear to get bigger? Or does it appear to be the same?
It appears to be the same size because the distance that's travelled is not a significant fraction of the current distance that it is away, which is simple fucking geometry.
So
you can't prove any of that. First of all, about
of course, you can prove it with mathematics. You Dimwits.
Second,
Math.
mathematics
Proves it. Mathematics proves it, but you can't
math
prove it.
doesn't
You can't measure
reality.
it.
Math doesn't prove reality. Math proves math. Listen, you say
Why?
that
Math doesn't
objects
Why
prove
don't
appear
you
to
reality.
just think?
You say
The
that
sun is
objects appear to
150 million kilometers away. If you step back a few meters, you think you're making a difference?
100%. You're making a difference. You step back a few
You're
meters.
so fucking stupid. You're not actually that stupid. We know. Don't pretend to be that dumb.
He's
It's
It's
not.
not working. It's not working. It's not working. You're not actually that dumb.
He can't be that stupid.
No, he's not that stupid.
Looking at Mount Rainier from 100 miles away.
Discord account.
You're
Oh,
looking at
yeah.
Mount Rainier from 100 miles away, and you step back 10 feet. Does it get smaller? Yes, it does. But could you tell me?
100%. Yep.
I feel like every time I hear Jeremy is talking, I feel like someone's sitting next to him, pointing a gun to his head and telling him, say stupid shit, say dumb fucking shit.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You guys are making a claim that objects appear to get smaller with distance. Now you
Which
say the
we
sun,
observe
you say the sun,
Other
you say that the sun's
observations.
working. They can't let me finish. See how triggered they are just from that one simple, basic, logical
Most
statement?
objects do appear to get further,
You
get
see
smaller.
what I'm saying, Bansot, or spiraling?
You can bleat and complain about being interrupted all you want. Doesn't change the fact you make the claim that yes, we do agree with you. I'm just agreeing with you. Yes, things do get smaller as they get further away. Yes, I'm agreeing. Next, move on.
Then why are you spiraling during my statement of that? If that
Because they don't have to
bother you.
appear to getting smaller, Madhu. That's the whole entire point.
So you're disagreeing with
Oh, Jeremy, you pretend to be this dumb.
Said that. TT guy, do things appear to get smaller with distance?
If the distance they've travelled away is a significant fraction of the current distance they are away, yes, they will appear to get smaller.
So
Can you
things
repeat
don't
that
always
sentence
appear
back?
to get-
Can you repeat
So
that
things-
sentence back to me so you say you understand it? You understand that point?
In other words, your stance is things don't always appear to get smaller the further away they get.
Correct. And it's a simple way to figure out whether they will or won't.
But mathematically, they have to appear to get smaller. You just can't measure it, and now you're making a baseless claim that, yeah, the sun is like everything else and it should be doing what it's doing, but we can't prove it. You just got some cool math.
This is a specious
It's not cool math. It's fucking kindergarten maths. What are you fucking talking about? It's
The
cool
sun
maths.
would have to get smaller for it to do what you say it does on a flat Earth. And the fact that we're talking about a fraction of a percent of an arc minute in size change means that it is not and will not ever be as close as it needs to be for us to see it vanish or disappear.
But between summer and winter, you can see the difference. At least with a telescope.
Oh, with it in a different location in the orbit.
Yeah, roughly 3% change. The 3 million.
I don't know why Jeremy's arguing that. He doesn't even know what an arc minute is.
Hey, Jeremy, what's an arc minute?
An arc minute is an arc minute.
It's a fraction of a degree, or of a degree, yeah.
I think
A
he does know
fraction
what
of
an
a
arc minute
circle. A fraction of a circle.
He's only pretending to be as dumb as he appears to be because he's not actually that dumb.
Jeremy knows how to use Google. Don't give him too much credit.
There's 300.
I
I'm
mean,
not
it's
even at my computer.
60th of a degree, right?
There's
And our
360
effect is
degrees.
at 3600.
Man, sometimes I really worry about Jeremy, man. His sanity looks like it got a big head, dude. Like, how many times it's like you're a broken cassette, man. You keep repeating the shit again and again and again and then again and no working forward, man.
Like Timo in that regard.
Yeah, it's like, holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Jeez.
They reset every day. They reset every day. They wake up, someone presses the button. Ba-ding!
Have you done any recent experiments, Jeremy, to prove the flat Earth theory?
It's not a theory. You don't know what a theory is, obviously.
Well,
He was
have you
gonna-
done anything
We're
to
using
prove
that
the
quote.
flat Earth?
We're using that word.
Yeah, he was going to do something with laser light, but he had to buy a fish tank, and that was outside of his scope.
I see. So much for a truth maker.
No,
Or a
the
truth
fish tank
seeker.
thing was unnecessary. You guys agreed with me that the light would be lower, even though it's bending down.
Why
We're
would
gonna
you
see the
trust
laser
us?
beam lower.
Why would you trust
We're gonna see the
Globers?
laser
I'm
beam
interested.
We're going to see the laser beam lower. It's bending down towards the more dense medium. So it's bending lower. You agreed we're going to see it lower. And
Sounds
yet
like
you
you
still
don't need to
thinking
do
that.
experiments then.
Yet you still think in the atmosphere that the light's bending down and we're seeing it higher, even though we see
Yes,
the in the experiment in the fish tank thing, we're seeing it lower.
Well,
Wait,
it's pretty clear that it originates higher, Jeremy, and bends downwards.
Where
You
we
know,
see
I'd
it
like to see,
bending
I'd like
down.
to see the chessboard. I'd like to see the chessboard experiment you described. I'd like to see evidence of that.
Yeah, I'd
Go
like
put
to
your
see
eyeball down to it.
experiment
Go put
with
your
an
eyeball
actual
down to a
chess piece
chessboard,
on
and
it,
you'll
and I
see.
want to
I
see the
don't.
chess piece
I can't do
disappear.
that
as I
for
get
you. You got to do that for
closer to the
yourself.
ground.
Go get a chessboard, put it diagonally, put your eyeball down to it, and you'll see that you can barely make out the last square. That's
Well,
for
I've
you
done.
to do.
About the square. The square is the surface. We're talking about objects on the
Yeah.
chessboard.
We're wondering why the surface we can't see more water, right? Are you not wondering why you can see more water?
Yeah, but hold on, that doesn't explain when the sun
Are
is
you
setting.
wondering why we can see more water or no?
Yeah, but it doesn't make any
Into it
sense.
because it's a geometric drop.
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense because we can put objects that has pattern on a flat surface, and the further we take them, we can still see the bottom to the top pattern. But when it comes to the sun is missing half of the sun.
Are you worried about seeing more ocean or not? You're like, why can't we see? You guys say we don't see.
Why are you pivoting? Why are you weaseling out, dudes?
What are you talking about?
Can't explain sunsets. You can't
He
explain
wanted to
sunsets.
know about the chessboard.
Why is
Jeremy,
nobody giving them the real answer to that?
Your angle curved. The acute
Do you
angle.
not know the difference between being able to see the surface and being able to distinguish the little checks on the surface of a board? There is a difference.
Okay.
The checkerboards being indistinguishable does not make the surface of the board invisible.
Good point.
Okay, so obviously the chessboard is only
Jeremy,
or not even 2 feet. So when you put your eyeball down to it and you can't see the last
Jeremy, it's angular size of
obviously-
the individual squares you're talking about. You know this. We've been through this. If anybody wants to run through it again with them, go ahead. Go ahead.
I already told him. It doesn't matter how close you get to the surface, you'll still see the end of
All
the
right.
chessboard, even if you can't make out the squares. So
when
his
you put
line
your
of
eyeball
reasoning
down-
is just dumb.
So when you put your eyeball
Yeah,
down
Jeremy's a bit of a liar. Have fun.
Is my mic working? Hello? Check.
Yes, you're just not saying anything of worth value.
Oh, okay.
Keep going, Jeremy. We can hear you loud and clear.
Anyway, so someone explain why the sun gets cut in half at sunset?
Here you go, man. You have the support you need,
Because
Jeremy. Go
obviously
on,
it's
man.
past-
Fight the globe retards.
That's easy. The top half of the sun is close enough to see, and the bottom half of the sun is too far away to see. I mean, duh.
Yep.
No, the bottom half has went past that part on the chessboard that you can't make out anymore because the angle is too much. It's too
what
small
part
of
is
an
that?
acute angle.
How dumb are you, Jeremy, to think that that's actually what happens? You're saying that the top half of the sun is so close, it's close enough that you can clearly see it, and the bottom half is just so far away that you can't make it out anymore?
No, it's crossed that point in the angle that you can't see anymore. The acute
some
angle.
magic
Remember
angle
we've been
thing that
talking about that? You guys
The
are
sun-
I can't even get it. I can't even get whole thoughts and ideas out.
We've heard the ideas.
Yeah, you're saying that paint on a chessboard, which is essentially two-dimensional, you're trying to compare that with a chess piece sitting on top of the chessboard.
Yes, what do you think's going to happen with more distance and a stronger angle? We're talking about our eyeball over a chessboard.
It's the angle of the angle.
Our eyeballs.
A sudden change that in 5 minutes will make the sun completely disappear, I would say in the chessboard analogy, that would fucking never happen. Not in a short period of time.
It's the angle of attack, man. It's the acute angle. Angle of attack.
The angle of attack, yeah, boy.
That would mean the sun went like
Have you ever put your eyeball down to a chessboard and looked at it diagonally?
Yes, we know what you're talking about. You're looking at a two-dimensional representation of a chessboard and trying to compare that to something suddenly, the sun suddenly jumping thousands and millions of miles further away in order for it to suck into the chessboard like that. Teleporting, as it were.
What do you think would happen if we made the chessboard twice as long, 3 times, 4 times as long? Right? You think you'd be able to see that back square at all?
Irrelevant. It's two-dimensional.
Why would the sun be anywhere near the chessboard?
The sun's making an angle towards you. The farther away it gets, it makes an angle towards you. It gets down farther and farther. Appears
angles are not magic, Jeremy.
Closer.
Let him go. Let him go. Let him finish. Let him finish his dirt.
They're spiraling. They're spiraling. Kurt.
Go on.
The farther the sun gets away from you, the closer it gets to appears to get to the horizon, because we know things drop with distance due to perspective.
Yeah, and we know that math describes that relationship. Carry on.
All right, so things are getting closer to the horizon due to perspective. So eventually it's going to meet that point on the chessboard that you can't see anymore.
There we go. Okay, talk about that point right there. At what point does that occur?
Obviously at some point, because we start to not be able to see the sun, so it's touched that point.
What is that angle?
It's touched that point prospectively.
What is the angle that we're looking for?
Is prospectively a word? That's what I would be more worried about.
I mean, if that's the largest word you have right now, then I feel bad for it. So what is that specific angle?
Dude, I don't have all the math and shit. I know you can't wipe your ass without a formula.
You don't have any math at all, dude. It's not about you not having it now. You never had it even.
You also don't have any critical thinking skills.
No, Earth is flat because peacocking.
Oh, you put it that way.
You want to play dumbass?
I mean, we all agree that there will be a spot on the chessboard that you can't see with more distance due to the angle, right?
I mean, it depends if the chessboard is a little bit dense.
Do we all agree to that, or what?
We all agree that you will still see the end of the chessboard no matter where you are.
Yeah. Don't sound frustrated, my dude. You don't have any right to be frustrated. Like, we're the one who's being frustrated.
It's like pulling teeth with you people. I can't get straight. You can never get straight answers.
Dude, we sacrifice brain cells to talk with you, man. Like, at least be grateful.
You're all spiraling every time.
Jeremy, part of the problem is there are too many people trying to answer. Not everybody gives the same answer. Not everybody gives the correct answer. You're going to need to learn to discern for yourself and understand that which is true. And that's something you have no idea how to fucking do.
None of you are giving the correct answer. Definitely not the guy giggling like a little bitch right now. He's not giving correct answers.
No matter how long you make the chessboard, Jeremy, if you put a grain of rice on the very back square, you'll be able to see that grain of rice no matter how close your eyeball gets to the surface. So what you're saying about how you can't see the squares is irrelevant.
What if we make the chessboard? What if we make the chessboard 3 times as long? Well, we're still going to see the grain of rice if it's in that spot, the square that we can't even make out anymore.
What happens if I raise the one square up?
That's guess. What'd you say, Moyak?
What happens if I raise the one square at the very back edge up a fraction of an inch?
Why would you raise it up?
Because that's what all topography is.
Yeah, we're talking about over, relatively flat water.
Yeah. And I have one square that's elevated, hence anything like the sun or a building or land or a tree.
Well, we're going to keep the ground flat like we model. Why would you elevate a square? That doesn't even make sense.
Jeremy's just arguing about image compression as you get further.
If anything, we could elevate a few squares a tiny fraction of a bit here and there and say they're waves.
So my idea when it comes to those type of things,
You want to do that,
okay?
Moyak?
As long as
waves on the chessboard.
I will let you. I'll give my opinion on this. Okay, so as long as there's a direct, straight line of sight, even if you can't see it from the small piece of rice on the square that you can't really see, and if there's a trajectory of light path, even if it's so far away to your eyes, theoretically you'll always be able to see it. Maybe side, it's still visible. Now you may not be able to see it because you're a human being and your eyes is really not that great, compared to other things that we can make when it comes to long distance observation. This thing doesn't refute the idea that even if it was flat, we would still be able to see it, even when it comes to the sun. That's why it's bogus shit when it comes to the flat earth theory, because the sun disappears, and with our telescopes or anything, we should be able to get it back, but we can't. We don't get it back because it's going behind the curvature.
Can I ask a question quickly?
Go ahead.
So for flat earthers, which is brighter, the sun or the stars? Wouldn't you say the sun is brighter than the stars?
You're telling me you don't use star tan lotion?
Answer the question.
So the sun is brighter than the stars. So now tell me, when the sun disappears in the distance, and then I look and I see stars instead of the sun, why is it I can see the stars but the sun's gone? How come I can see the stars in the same direction that the sun supposedly went, and I can't see the sun, and yet it's a brighter thing in the sky than the stars? Please explain.
We just went over this. You might have been on coffee break, but the sun's hit that point in the chessboard where you can no longer see it.
Yeah, but you can still
Why
see
don't the stars do that?
The stars do that when you can't see the stars anymore. You tell me the stars don't change?
I can see the stars in the distance where the sun went. Why?
Okay, and as they move through the sky, as the stars move through the skies, the same thing happens that happened to the sun. They hit that point on the chessboard, you can no longer make them out visually because of the acute angle.
Saying, Jeremy. The sun is a really bright
but the sun
comes
comes back every day. The stars come back every day. So what do you mean they go away? How are they going away if they come back every day?
They're always there. You just can't see them. What are you talking about, Phil? Come on, bro. Are you a PhD scientist, motherfucker?
The stars are in the same. The stars are in the same direction where the sun supposedly went. How is it that I can see the stars with a telescope or even my naked eye, and I can't see the sun?
Are you serious with this?
It's not even the size of a star.
Yeah, he is being serious.
Because the star,
your incredulity is showing.
Any stars you can see are past the point on that chessboard that you couldn't make out before. So that's why you can see them. What's the problem here? I don't understand.
It's a big problem for you because I should be able to get a telescope or whatever I need and see the sun again.
No, you can't. You can't do it to a star either if it's past that point on the chessboard.
But I can see the star all night. I can see the star right at the horizon. Why can't I see the sun at the horizon?
And if that star was to go past the point that the sun went, you wouldn't be able to see it anymore.
Well, you know obviously. What? You know something? You're quite right. The sun goes below the horizon. That's why you can't see it anymore.
No, what do you mean I'm quite right? That wasn't what I'm saying at all.
Yeah, you were saying that, basically.
You said it perfectly.
You're saying it without saying the word horizon. But yeah, that's literally what you're saying. If a star or the sun goes beyond the horizon, then you can still see it. Yeah, no shit, Jeremy.
Horizon is that point in the chessboard. When you got your eyeball down the chessboard, your horizon is that place where you can't see that square anymore.
Yeah, but
part of the square.
Yeah, but the thing that doesn't make sense of your analogy or your hypothetical scenario is if there's this rise or the small sun, it needs to go and gradually change its size until it becomes an invisible point. But we see when the sun is setting on the horizon, the sun size doesn't really change at all. And what happens to the sun is that incrementally, pieces of the sun starts to disappear, but the sun still have and contain its circumference. It doesn't make any sense, my dude. It just basically like I'm hiding my pizza behind my monitor, and the pizza size is not really changing at all. You get the point.
You forgot.
So you guys have a sun getting farther away from you. You guys have a sun that's getting farther away from you, and it's not changing. Phil, you're spiraling. You're spiraling, Phil.
You forgot to apply perspective. You forgot to apply the perspective transformation.
It seems to me perspective doesn't work on stars.
No, it doesn't.
Why can't we see stars during the daytime, Jeremy? What's up with that?
I don't know. I can't even. Fuck
Well,
you
it's
guys
easy.
are spiraling.
It gets washed away
maybe
by
I'll come
the
back
sun,
later
doesn't it?
when you're done spiraling.
I mean, it's not a spiral; it's a question, Jeremy. One that
It's very easy to say
every kid
spiraling.
should be able to
I know,
answer.
but I
Why
can't
you
get.
see
I
stars
can't get.
during
I
the
can
day?
never get an answer out though. So what's the point?
Go
No,
for
you
it.
don't have an answer. That's why.
Stars. Why can't you see stars during the day? Yeah, crickets.
Are you spiraling, Jeremy?
We gave him time to
No,
answer.
I'm just. I can't engage you guys because you're all spiraling right now.
No, we're quiet. We're gonna give you the
Yeah,
statement.
you're
Go ahead.
quiet until I start talking, and then you all want to talk over me at the same time. It's ridiculous.
Jesus Christ, the victim card is pretty stale.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet for the next 30 minutes. Okay, Nidhogg, please repeat your question.
Now, why can't you see stars during the day, Jeremy?
They're getting whitewashed out because of the sun. What do you mean? That's the same thing that's happening in your model.
So the magnitude or the brightness of the sun is so great that the light emitted by the stars doesn't overshine it. So we can only see the sun when it's out during the day. Is that a fair thing to say?
The sun's causing you to not see the stars, obviously. Whatever's going on, we know that if we can see the sun, we can't see the stars.
It's because the sun is magnitudes, an order of magnitudes brighter than every other object in the sky. Is that right?
Repeat it again. I got a text message dang when you were talking.
We're being very clear here, so there's no ambiguity. The sun is an order of magnitude brighter than any other object in the sky. Is that right? That's why you can only see it when it's daytime.
The sun?
Yeah.
Yes, it's brighter than anything. What the fuck are you?
Perfect. Yes.
Is this leading
Jeremy.
going
So,
somewhere? Or?
Yes, it is going somewhere. Now, does light have a definitive terminator where it no longer shines? Like, it has a distance where it just is like, I'm not going to be light anymore. I'm tired. I'm not going to be bright. Is there a point where light does that?
Yeah, there's a little thing called the attenuation of light, right? You should probably look into this because that is what happens.
What is the attenuation of light, Jeremy?
Oh my God, Snack, are you serious?
You propose the attenuation of light is why we can't see light. So I would like you to explain what the attenuation of light is in regards to daylight.
It's the point at which the atmosphere, the sun, the light is traveling through a medium, and it reaches a point where it just can't penetrate. Why do you think it's dark on the bottom of the ocean floor?
And when that happens, of course, it makes the sun cut in half. That's how the attenuation works, right? It attenuates it at a certain thing, gets a nice hard line, right?
You go down in the ocean, it just gets line you just get to and it just shuts off.
We're not talking about Terminator line. Is there a point on Earth where it's pitch black and one part's light? Does that happen on your mod? Does that happen anywhere?
That's the sunset. Yes, that's the sunset, and attenuation of light doesn't.
So there's a place where I could jump, and at one place I'm going to be in brightness, full sunlight, and then I'll jump and I'll be in darkness, causing a hard Terminator line, like you were just claiming 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the sunset.
Somebody
when you look
said,
at
the sunset. That's a sunset, Jeremy. As the sunset progresses down past the horizon,
you were just grilling me out. This is projection.
No,
this is projection. You don't have a hard Terminator line, and you're grilling me on why there isn't one when there isn't one. There's nowhere you could jump, be in broad daylight, and then at sunset you jump and you're in pitch blackness. That doesn't create a hard Terminator line like you were just grilling me on.
You're backwards, Jeremy.
You got it
You can
backwards.
be in
guys suck.
darkness.
You guys really are getting
You can be in
terrible.
darkness,
You're
Jeremy.
somehow
You can
getting
jump
worse
and you can be
at
in
arguing the
sunlight.
globe.
Jeremy.
So,
you can be in
so
darkness.
the
you
light,
can
Getting
jump
worse
and
at
be in light.
arguing the globe. It's ridiculous.
so the light shining on the top of the Burj Khalifa is not attenuated, but the light near the ground is attenuated. Is that what you're saying? It's far enough away so that you can't see it at the ground, but it's not far enough away that you can see it from the top of the hotel.
No, he was asking me if there's a point where light, the light won't reach for some reason.
When you're
And
on the ground, why can't you see the sun?
It has to do with the sun appearing to move down in the sky. That also has to do with, that's due to perspective. Then you have your acute angle to the ground. You have light attenuation, atmospheric turbidity. There's a bunch of things, refraction. A lot of things will cause
the point
light
that
to
I
not
was
reach you
making,
anymore.
Jeremy, that you digressed from by saying attenuation of light is that if the sun during the day can brighten the entire sky and it's an order of magnitude brighter than anything else, and on the flat Earth proposed model, the sun is always in the sky, it never sets below any surface, then there's no reason that the light would not always be in the sky. There would never be nighttime. And to say
do you know light attenuates?
Yes, Jeremy. That's
so
the
there's
point.
The reason why it would.
No, but light attenuation does not cause a hard line and across the sun, does it?
You don't have a hard line.
We do have a hard line.
Hang on. At what distance does light attenuate to the point that it is darkness? Jeremy, answer me simply. Jeremy, answer
I'm
me
addressing the last
simply.
guy. Don't bring up a new point. Let me address the last guy.
Same point.
Can I address the last guy, please? Nowhere on Earth where you can be in pure brightness, unless you're looking at a shadow of a building or mountain or something. You can't jump somewhere from pure brightness and jump somewhere and be in night, pure night. You don't have a hard line yourself, so I don't know why you're grilling me about one.
When I look out into the sun setting, there's a hard line across the sun. Right? The horizon forms a hard line across the sun. And that cannot be caused by attenuation.
I got disconnected in your little thing there. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, when you look out across the horizon to the sunset, there's a hard line across the sun, and that cannot be caused by attenuation in the atmosphere.
No, you don't have a hard line. It gradually gets darker. Like I said, unless you have mountains or buildings or something, it gradually gets darker. You don't have a hard line where you don't have a hard line where it's pure brightness on one side of this line and then pure darkness on this other side.
You do. When the sun goes down.
That's fucking nonsense. Where's the real Globers at? Come on, guys.
I just posted at 12:36, so it's 36 past the hour. That top there, that's the sun setting, and there's a hard line at the horizon, isn't it? It cuts the sun in half. That cannot be caused by attenuation.
Looks like a hard line to me.
Yeah, and if you would like to say attenuation is the answer, then you have to be able to tell us at what distance does light travel where it attenuates to darkness. That should be measured.
Where's your picture?
Well, Moyak just posted one at 39 past the hour. Nice hard line on the horizon there. Looks to be pretty dark.
You're talking about us not being able to see the sun, not the I thought we were talking about the Terminator line. Now you're talking about the sun.
You're talking about how the attenuation of light in the atmosphere causes.
You're all over the place. You're all over the place.
No, you are.
No, you are. We were just talking about the Terminator line, and now you're talking about. And you showed a picture of the sun being half.
You're the one that's rattled off 4 ideas about what might explain the sun going. So you're the one that's all over the place.
There's probably multiple causes to the effect. There's probably multiple causes to the effect. No, I'm not. I was just giving you my reasons. And then we were talking about the Terminator line, and then you showed me a picture of the sun half.
I never talked about the Terminator line at all.
That's what we were just talking about.
The Terminator line.
We were just talking about the hard line, the hard Terminator line. You guys were grilling me on that. You don't have.
I was talking about the sunset. I was talking about the sunset.
All right, that's called projection. Whoever was doing that.
I should know what I was talking about. I started it.
Well, there's multiple people in this. It's not just me and you, is it? I mean, now it is, yes, but it
This is
wasn't.
what everybody understood. That's why I posted the image, because we had changed the conversation, and this is what we've been talking about for the past 5
Okay,
minutes.
the sunset thing is
There
due
you go,
to.
Jeremy. I used my basic drawing skills to show you the Terminator line that they're talking about. You can clearly see light and darkness, and a Terminator line dividing them. Now explain how attenuation of light does that.
I thought we were talking about the Terminator line on Earth.
You thought wrong, moron.
You're talking about the Terminator line on the sun?
Yes.
I
wouldn't call it a
doesn't get
Terminator line.
The sun
The
doesn't
sun's
get a
dead.
Terminator. Yeah, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. What Terminator line on this?
The hard line that bisects the fucking sun in half.
That's not a Terminator line.
Well, what do we want to call it?
You guys
Who
don't even
cares
know
what-
what a Terminator line. Listen, you guys got to learn your own model first of all. All right, learn what a Terminator is, and
I never
get
called
back
it
to
a
me.
Terminator. You called it a
They are.
Terminator.
No,
called it a
they are right
Terminator.
now. They're trying to explain to me how it's a Terminator. Do you hear me?
Right? Can you
Now that you know what you're talking about, forget the name and talk about the thing
This is how
itself.
it is, Jeremy. You say that you can't be in total light, jump up and see darkness, which is just fucking stupid. But you can be in total darkness and jump up and see light. That Terminator line, which is on the Earth, is the day and night division from the sun setting on the horizon. Now you're like, that never happens because we're not on a curved surface. Fine, then we're on a flat Earth. The Terminator line we're talking about then is the only one we see, which is the sun being bisected at the horizon. You can't explain either of them, Jeremy.
By all means, go
absolutely
on about
can.
semantics and try and muck.
Can.
Okay,
Shut
go.
the fuck up, TT guy. I've already explained this multiple times. The sun, we're not seeing that part of the sun because it's essentially touched the part of the chessboard, not literally, but due to perspective, everything appears to go down that's above, and the bottom ramps up.
Can you draw a diagram of that?
There's a point on the chessboard where you can't see when you put your eyeball down to it. The sun is essentially angularly come in contact, not literally, but perspectively came. Are you going to talk the whole way through me, or?
Well, like you said, you already explained this, and I'm just telling you where you're wrong.
Right in the middle of my shit, you can't wait till you're done, or you just want to spout you're wrong through my whole thing? I don't even know where I was. Whatever. Go ahead. Play with some other flat earther.
You've asserted it many times and not presented any evidence to explain what your assertions are. So I'd just like you to explain your assertions.
Did you put your eyeball down to a chessboard?
You need to diagram this with some sort of ray tracing.
Have you put your eyeball down to a chessboard?
I have taken photographs of this to test this idea, yes, and it doesn't work as you described.
If you put your eyeball down to a chessboard, the chessboard itself has an angular size of 0.
All right, now this guy wants to jump in. Go ahead.
I'm responding to what you said. If you put your eyeball
right in the middle
down
of when
level
I was
to
talking?
it, can I respond? Anyway, if you put your eyeball down to a chessboard, the chessboard has an angular diameter of 0. What does that have to do with the sun that has an angular diameter of 0.5 degree?
Okay, now that that's out of the way.
You're not going to respond?
You said you put a camera down. I'm going to respond to the other guy first. How many people do you want me to respond to at once? Maybe another person say something else and have me respond to that too.
Go ahead.
Jesus Christ, man. I tried telling you, hey, let me respond to the other guy before you say your nonsense. But no, you had to spew your nonsense.
You guys need a moderator? You guys need a moderator? We can find one.
Just go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, everyone wants to jump in, but I mean, how many points can I respond to at once? Come on, guys, let's be civil. I don't even know what, like I said, just go play with some other flat earther because I don't remember what the other guy said or what you said.
Well, I can remind you, he mentioned that the sun has an angular size that's greater than...
I'm not worried about it. There's a lot of people that want to talk clearly, so we'll let everyone talk and maybe later when it's not so busy.
I accept your concession of defeat.
I'm conceding defeat in the fact that we can't, have a one-on-one or whatever. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people want to talk, but like if you want to go down to another room.
I'm listening. Say your point, sir.
if you want to go down to another room, maybe then we can
You guys
have
are doing great. You're doing great. You guys are doing great. It's just a couple interruptions. I know it's frustrating to talk to like 5 people at once, but you're doing fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've made my point. You put your eyeball down to a chessboard. There comes a point where there's a square in the back. If you do it diagonal, you won't be able to see the back square fully. The sun has due to perspective, the sun appears to meet that point, and that's the point you can't see, obviously, because you can't see it on the chessboard. If anything gets close to it due to perspective, you're obviously not going to be able to see that because of the angle.
But as Kerr pointed out, you can see the chessboard. You just can't make out the squares.
Yeah, and when something gets perspectively close to that, you're not going to be able to make out that either.
No, because they're much bigger. It's, do these chessboard things, do they cut off in the middle? Do they have a nice cut? Like, do they look like the sun cut off? No, they don't. And if I zoom in, if I had a zoom lens, could I zoom into those checkerboard squares and see them? Yes, I could. But if I zoom into the sun, can I see the bottom of the sun? No, you can't. So there's your explain those. I can zoom in and see.
Suggestion: don't allow them to conflate reality and real world distances to like the subsolar point with something asymptotically approaching infinity.
Yeah.
He has to quantify some of this shit. It's all just vague, ambiguous, blurry, willy-nilly, whatever, and just, angularly, perspectively.
Yeah, and
not a single number in sight. Yeah, no justification for his claims, and nobody calls him on it.
Exactly, but I mean, we can zoom it in, and that's an easy explanation. I can zoom in your chest.
No, exactly, but I've got to go and explain 10 different ways from Sunday how I know all these other things. Just get to the heart of it. If we want to argue with them, do it, please, by all means. Argue with this twat. Embarrass him, put him down. Show him what it is to feel the shame of being the retard that he is. But do it effectively. That's what I'm trying to get through.
A, they don't know what they're doing. B, they can't embarrass
I'm leaving
me,
now.
so...
See you later, everybody.
Bye, Phil.
Bye, Phil.
Okay,
and try to work on not doing it as a mob all at once. I know it's difficult. He's by himself. It makes it easy for him to not cut him off. We have to try to figure out a way to not crawl all over each other. That's a problem for us. It's not a problem for him. But he uses that to his advantage to cry victim and to use it as an excuse to not have any answers to these simple questions or evidence for his stupid claims.
Anyway, Jeremy, I can zoom in on. I can zoom in on the checkboard and see that, but I can't zoom in on the sun and see the bottom of the sun. Explain.
No, you can't. There's nothing. There's no physical thing blocking that. It's all due to the angle.
You're saying I can't zoom onto the edge of the chessboard and see it if I had a zoom lens.
You'd have, first of all, if you have a lens, it's gonna be way higher than your eyeball, right? So you're either gonna need a tiny.
I've got an iPad. I've got an iPhone that I can zoom in with, Jeremy.
All right, and you put the
lens
camera all the way down to the.
I can put the camera all the way down to the. I can put the camera down closer than I can put my eye. The lens of my iPhone is lower to the edge than my eye is. So that's
okay. Well, if we're gonna start zooming, we're gonna have to make the chessboard longer, and there's gonna be a point where you can't zoom in anymore. That square will still be invisible.
Well, then you just need a bigger lens.
Yeah. You haven't advanced the argument, and I can never do that for the sun.
Zoom in and see more of the checkerboard.
I can never do that for the sun. I cannot zoom in on the sun and see the bottom of it. So you got some explaining to do.
Because it's past that point. It's past that point where you can no longer see it on the checkerboard.
But you can always see the checkerboards.
You can always zoom in.
You can't make out even if you can't make out individual squares. You can always see the checkerboards.
We can see this has to do with your angle. When your eyeballs down to the checkerboard, you can't see it. You want to zoom in. We're going to need a longer checkerboard. There's also other things that are factors of this: refraction, magnification. I mean, You can maybe debunk one thing alone, but when you put it,
stop for a minute.
When you put it all,
The other Jeremy,
when you put it,
let's stay on one thing at a time.
What's up?
Let's stay on one thing at a time. Those checkerboards, they're also getting smaller as they're getting further away. The squares. The sun isn't. What's up with that?
The sun isn't getting smaller?
No, not in angular diameter.
That's a problem because
things are supposed to get
smaller the farther away they get.
Smaller in angular diameter.
What's up?
Yeah. Yeah, the squares are getting smaller in angular diameter as you
No, the sun should be getting smaller in angular diameter.
It doesn't.
Yeah, but isn't that a law that things have to appear to be smaller the farther away they get?
Jeremy, where were you 30 minutes ago when we explained and you understood that it only doesn't necessarily have to get smaller if the distance you've traveled is not a significant fraction of the current distance you are away.
This doesn't prove that the sky's. Yeah, I do understand. This doesn't prove that the sky's working like you say.
Well, I never said it was. But it does tell you.
Well, then why are we looking at the sky to see the shape of Earth?
Let me finish. We're talking about the sun. What do you expect us to talk about?
Yeah.
It means that the sun's not getting much further away.
Why are we arguing about the effects and not the cause?
We're talking about the sun. Whether you want to call that the cause or the effect, it doesn't really matter.
You could have some kind of atmospheric magnification. We know that's a thing. Check with your boy Andrew Thomas Young.
Well, then why aren't the checkerboards being magnified?
And how does magnification cut off the sun in the middle?
You're looking like a foot over the checkerboard squares. Why aren't they being magnified? Really? That's your fucking question?
Well,
Come on,
apparently
dude.
they're somehow merging
real,
with the sun is somehow merging with the surface, which in our example is the checkerboards. Shouldn't the same optics be affecting both of them?
I posted a video.
You're looking a foot over the. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I posted a video in the chat for you guys. It has a Fresnel lens displaying the sun setting. It's kind of cool.
The atmosphere cannot be demonstrated to be a lens that magnifies things without affirming the consequent.
No, you don't. You obviously haven't read up on Andrew Thomas Young, who is the subject matter expert on atmospheric magnification.
That particular form of magnification only exists in one axis, not two.
You don't. You just made that up.
No.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? What is wrong?
The problem is that you haven't read the paper you're citing.
No, you haven't read the paper. He clearly says there's atmospheric magnification going on.
In one axis and not two.
That Fresnel lens demonstration that you put up there, what is the angle of the Fresnel lens? It looks like it's tipping up.
I have no idea. I just thought it was cool. I didn't find it was a guarantee or like a written in stone thing. I just thought it was very interesting.
I think it's tipping up because you don't see the horizon beyond it at all. So you first off would have to have a lens that just suddenly exists at a distance from you. And then it seems like it's not showing stuff behind it, so it's actually tipped up in the air, so it's avoiding the horizon. If you tip that lens down a little bit, I'd like to see that same.
Possibly.
Also, I gotta wonder what a lens like that would do to the stars.
Yeah, we kind of would have noticed that sort of effect just on everyday objects moving through the atmosphere, wouldn't you? Planes would do funny shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nah.
But they do.
Planes do funny shit?
Yeah, bro.
I mean, only when the pilot tells them to, as far as I've
They
seen.
defy gravity. That's funny enough, isn't it?
Bro, I once seen in a movie this guy fly inverted and flip off the enemy jet, dude. Planes do lots of funny shit.
Yeah.
Right, they do, boy.
It was
So
like
what's the
Top Gun
cause?
or
What's
something.
the cause? Instead of going on about the effect, what's causing this?
What's causing what? The sun goes down.
Humidity in the atmosphere, I think it is. Crystals.
That the sun is going behind a physical curve.
No, it's not.
What's the cause of that, do you think?
It's not going behind a physical curve.
No, I'm saying they're asserting that that's what's happening.
Mm.
What's the What's the cause of that?
Yeah, according to them, it's going behind the geometric horizon that we never see, but somehow we see it every time.
The cause is the rotation of the Earth.
So then all you have to do then is prove the curvature and the rotation. And that's all you got to do.
Well, rotation's easily proved.
Prove
Rotation's
to us
easily.
the Earth is rotating, and prove to us the Earth has got curvature to it. And you have solved your problem.
Yeah, well, the Earth is easily proved to be rotating due to different centrifugal forces. Different. You can measure the. You can measure the difference.
You go out and prove it. Go on.
I've seen people prove it. I can, yes, I could do it.
You personally go out and prove the Earth is rotating and prove there is a curvature.
Why personally?
Well, I personally prove there's a curvature. I personally prove there's a curvature. I have done that. Sorry? I personally proved there's a curvature, yes.
He's delusional,
How
Brian.
you did that?
I beg your pardon?
How did you do it? How did you do it?
I measured hidden objects over the horizon.
Wait a minute, wait. You have just measured something you can't fucking see.
Yes, I saw it.
You just said it was hidden.
Then I moved to a different elevation and I saw it then. And you know what?
I'd like to see what would happen if you put multiple candles up there, like ships going off and stuff. It seems to occupy the same space as other things. I think that ships going off in distance would look really strange.
You are living in a fantasy land that has been implanted into your brain. There
Brian,
is no
why do we?
There is no spin. There is not. It is only in your head.
Is this gay?
Brian, why did you say that we personally have to prove it to you? Just curious. Why did you say we personally have to prove it?
You cannot prove it because it is not there. You cannot prove a negative.
Okay, aside from that,
and utter nonsense that you've had force-fed into your brain.
I'm not trying to prove a negative. I'm proving a positive. There's positive curvature. There's positive proof of curvature.
No, there isn't.
Yes,
there is not.
Surveyors do it all.
No, there isn't.
Surveyors do it all the time.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. This is what you've been told. No, they don't.
They've written it down. They've done the maths. They've done the maths.
CT guy, you've lost. He's yelling louder. The louder he yells, the more right he is.
The more times he says it, the more times he asserts something.
Yeah, but
And
his
you are
mic is
just
quiet,
saying,
so that
you are
cancels
just
it
saying
out.
no, they haven't. No, Brian. You aren't really establishing anything to be true here.
Can I just
The
say
only
that,
way
you know,
they have done it. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Sir, the burden of evidence goes on you because you're the one trying to make these claims against what is generally the consensus of what is correct and what is not. So if you're going to make an argument, then you should make the argument instead of just trying to say, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong.
So appeal the consensus? That's the fallacy you're going with?
No, he needs to make an actual argument. All he's doing, as Root says, is just saying no.
The only curvature you have ever seen is done through optics. Optics are affected by the atmosphere. There is no
optics are the
physical
only way I see
measurement
anything.
of any curvature.
Optics that are
Is that reasonable,
by
Brian?
your optics.
All right, Brian, let's look at that. What you're saying is that tens and tens of thousands of measurements that have been made all over the world for the last 250 years by all different people from different backgrounds, they've all made the same mistake, is what you're saying. And it was all caused by the atmosphere, which just happened to be the same sort of conditions every time one of these measurements was made. I mean, does that really seem like a likely scenario to you?
If you put the same amount of granules in gravy and put the same amount of water in, you will get the same consistency of gravy. If we're looking through the same consistency
wouldn't be, but we wouldn't be though, would we, Brian? We wouldn't be.
It means they're fucking distorting what
But
you're
we wouldn't be,
seeing.
Brian. But that's my point.
Yes,
We
it
wouldn't
would.
be. That isn't possible,
Yes.
is it? That isn't
Yes, it
possible.
is.
So
It
what
is.
you're saying is that on... Okay, let's examine that before you go any further. Tens of thousands of measurements taken over the last 250 years by all different people. You're saying the atmospheric conditions were the same on every occasion.
Yes.
On all
If they
tens of
came
thousands of occasions in all different locations all around the world, the atmospheric conditions were exactly the same.
If they came to the same conclusion, then yes. You say it yourself.
Well, that's
fucking light.
You see, that's just dogmatism, though, isn't it? That's you starting with the idea that the Earth absolutely must be flat, and all evidence that challenges that. Listen. All evidence that challenges that must be incorrect, and you won't examine the evidence. You'll just say it must be a mistake. These tens of thousands of people on thousands and thousands of occasions over 250 years, they all just made the same mistake because the atmosphere was the same for all of them. It's just not possible for that to be true, Brian, and you know it's not.
If they are all using the same ruler that is fucking shortened by 6 inches, they will all get the same measurement.
Well, they're not. They're
Now,
not
if
all
you're
using the
looking
same
through the
ruler, are they?
same-
That's ridiculous. They're not all using the same
If
one.
you're looking through the same medium that distorts your view, you will probably get very close fucking measurements to what everybody else is getting. I mean, it's right. It means it's fucking distorted. Now, do a physical measurement of the curvature. And you cannot, because there isn't any.
But you have, first of all, you haven't done such physical measurement. So if that's your standard, you haven't got anything to work off either, have you?
I haven't done it.
Right, so you're in a
I'm
position of
saying what
ignorance
they have
on this.
measured is total fucking nonsense. It's like Stanley Bridge. The bridge fucking
Well, okay,
runs
but
like
why
that.
is it nonsense? Why is it nonsense?
Because bridge is flat until it starts getting into thicker and thicker atmosphere, which distorts the image, and the end of the bridge looks like it bends down.
Right. Yeah, but we're not talking about Stanley. We're not talking about Stanley. We're talking about normal geodetic survey.
I'm going down the road now. Roads seem to come together. When I get there, it's as wide as it was back there. It's all distorted.
Yeah, but that's
And
just
you
not
can't
true, is it?
use these distorted fucking measurements as
Yeah,
gospel.
but that's not
nonsense.
true. But that's not true, Brian.
It
and you
is
know it's
true.
No,
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
we've measured
it
the
is
air
true.
and we know what kind
We're
of distortions it's capable
entirely capable. It's part of everyone's experience here to have seen things at a distance that were not distorted. So pretending that absolutely everything is distorted is clearly not true. You're lying to yourself. That is not your experience. It's not the experience of anyone. So why are you pretending it is?
That this road looks
It
like
should
it's
bother
being
you that you're
smashed
having to
into nothing.
pretend something is true that you absolutely know is not true, and everyone here knows is not true, and you're having to pretend it is true. This should bother you.
It don't bother me because
Well, it should do.
we
Because you're saying that we can't see things at a distance because it's all just so distorted we just can't make anything out. That's rubbish, and you know it is.
Is this so painful for you, Joe?
Well, it is.
Really?
It is to hear a grown man of your age just saying things that are patently untrue. We know that's not true. It's ridiculous. You're delusional, dude. Completely delusional.
That seems to disappear to nothing. Have you never done that?
Never.
You must have done.
Never done what?
Look down the long straight road where the lampposts seem to get smaller and smaller till they fucking disappear.
No, not really. That's
haven't?
not part of anyone's experience.
Well,
is
you're
it?
not very well travelled.
No, that's a diagram that somebody drew on YouTube. You've never looked down a road where that the lampposts are all lined up like that. What fucking road's that in Britain?
One up north, straight as a fiddle, straight as a die. And all the lampposts get shorter and shorter and shorter till they disappear.
Until you zoom in on them
Hold on,
with a camera.
make sure.
We haven't got any roads like that in Britain. He's talking bollocks. There's nowhere where you would see that.
They do that. Smaller when they're fucking further away.
And then you zoom in on them.
Or whether you're just looking at it, you cannot fucking just look at train tracks for fuck's sake.
I tell you what I have seen. I've looked down roads at the beach and seen condos get smaller and smaller until I can't see the bottom of them, but I can still see the top.
You just, I mean, what are you saying now? What are you saying now? That there is an effective perspective? I'm not denying that.
You cannot.
You're saying that everything is so distorted that you couldn't possibly take any kind of optical measurement from it. That's ridiculous.
Because what the fuck are you looking at? Clouds ever come down and touch the sea? We have an horizon, don't we? Where they look like they do. It
Can
doesn't
anyone
mean
hear
they
what he's
fucking
saying?
do. I'm probably shouting too loud. It's nonsense. You should have a physical measurement. None of these fucking optical measurements count.
Well, that's it's funny how whatever it is, it doesn't count. Pictures from space, they don't count. We need measurable curvature, you used to say. Now we give you the measurable curvature. Oh no, we don't like your measurement method. You need to use a different, impossible measurement method. And when you've used the impossible measurement method, then we'll believe your impossible measurement.
Hey Brian,
No
which
wonder
method?
so many people get conned by fucking scammers because whatever
Brian.
somebody says to you, you just take it as fucking gospel.
Brian, can I ask?
I look at what's reasonable to believe. And it's not reasonable to believe what you're proposing. That one, that we aren't able to see anything at a distance, it's all just too distorted. And two, that all of these measurements that have been made don't count, quote, because of either because of atmospheric conditions or because all of these people made the same mistake. That's why I accept the other story, Brian, because it makes a lot more sense than your bullshit that you've made up.
Okay, I'll take that. Now, ring up a manufacturer of an auto level and ask them how far is it calibrated to? They will tell you 100 yards or 200 yards, not 55 fucking miles like fucking them twats are saying, because they know over that distance it's going to go way out.
They have measurements and protocols for measuring long distances with transits and total stations.
Right. And if it's going to go way out, you need it to go way out by the same amount every single time it's done. Thousands and thousands of times over. By different people in different places with different tools. So
when it's in the same atmosphere, it will give you the same distortion.
No, it isn't though, is it?
Yeah, that's why when you're surveying, you continue to measure. You don't when you're surveying, you don't measure once. You continuously measure as you're surveying. You're constantly measuring.
And the conditions of the
Tell me
atmosphere.
why a physical measurement is no good then.
I didn't say it's not any good, but you don't have one.
Then, if somebody showed you a picture of a fucking motorhome and said you can have this for 5,000 quid, or took you to it and said you can have this, which would you believe?
Both.
You'd believe a picture.
Well, almost everyone who buys a vehicle these days, Brian, does it via a picture.
Well, I certainly wouldn't hand any cash over until I'd fucking physically seen anything.
Right, but you don't doubt the existence of the vehicle until you get there, do you? If you're going to go and buy a car, You don't go, oh, well, we might. I don't know whether I want to drive to see this car because it might not actually exist. I've only seen it in a picture.
My mate got screwed over for
You don't do that at all. What you actually do, Brian, is you say, we're going to go and have a look at this car because it looks okay in the pictures. That's what you do, isn't it?
Kind of a valid
My mate
point.
got screwed over for 15 grand when he thought he was buying a Manx Norton. And it was all a fucking con. And he fell for it, fell for the trap.
If he's like you, mate, he's going to be a bit gullible, isn't he?
Well,
I'm not gullible. I'm not gullible, that's the thing. I want a physical fucking measurement of curvature. Now, if anybody can provide a physical measurement, I will agree with them and I'll be straight on back on the fucking spinning ball. But they can't. They can only show you an optical fucking thing.
Hey,
and I know optics alter.
Hey, Brian, what measurement can you do that doesn't use opticals?
Not my problem, mate. Your problem. You think you're on one, you prove it.
There's
Well,
no
your problem, Brian, isn't it?
There's no measurement that gets
You
done.
prove you're on a spinning fucking ball.
There's no measurements that get done.
No, I'm not.
You have to look at something. You have to look at something to measure it, don't you? That's using optical. You might look at an instrument.
You need to.
But that's
you need to do what they call forced align. You need to do a forced align measurement.
No, you need to. We don't need to. We're not
No, I
confused.
don't need to. I know it ain't fucking a ball.
That'll be optical, though.
Unfortunately, for you, Brian. Unfortunately for you, Brian, you live in a world where everybody else thinks it is. Now, if you're happy,
I know.
If you're happy with that, then fine. You could say it's our problem, but I don't think you are happy with that, and nobody else really cares. Nobody else really cares that you don't think it's a ball. So if you want this situation, to change in any way, it's down to you, not down to us.
I'm not happy with that situation because my grandchildren and great-grandchildren are going to be taught the same nonsense. That's
Right,
why
so
I'm
you
not
need to
happy about
establish.
it.
You need
Now,
to establish
if you
what
haven't
you
got
believe to
kids
be. You need to
or
establish what.
grandkids,
You need to establish what you believe to be true to be the thing that most people believe. Then, don't you? The thing that's taught in schools. So
get on it,
So the problem is yours, not ours.
Lift your game, man.
pushing this
I
fucking
sacrifice
nonsense.
integrity. I sacrifice my integrity all the time when I answer my son, bro. I'm highly suspicious that it's a flat Earth and they're hiding something from us. But if my kid asks me, bro, the moon's 238,000 miles away and the sun's 93 million, you gotta let them get through school first, bro.
Yeah, man, don't let them make the same mistake as you did.
Why should they be taught this fucking nonsense like we were?
Well, because
It's not
we
nonsense.
we were vaccinated and taught the same shit, and we're fine.
Are ya?
Because we like to get to the destinations that
Well,
are.
I think so, bro. Because I was
We
taught
like-
the same shit, and I'm like, it's probably flat. So if it's the same case, our kids will come to the same conclusion, man.
Why are
Yeah,
we
man.
paying people to teach our kids nonsense and our grandkids and our great-grandkids? Why are we doing that?
No, we're letting them babysit our kids and teach them some stuff so that they're not dumb fucks when they come home from school at
But
the
they
end of
are.
the day.
It's making them dumb fucks.
Yeah, but we want them. We want them to at least
When I went and
balance.
had my eyes tested, I asked the optician, "Oh, how far will I be able to see now?" He says, "Oh, you." I said, "What about 380,000 miles?" And he went, "No, you can't see that far." I said, "How can I see the fucking moon then?"
Bro, do you know how
Ooh, what a
I don't
great
know.
trick!
Bro,
What a
do you know
great
how
trick! If you tricked an optician like that with that little word game, the Earth is definitely
I don't
flat.
know,
Well
he
done.
said.
That definitely
How
establishes
can
the
the
shape of the Earth.
human eye see for 380,000 miles or whatever it is? 38,000 miles?
It doesn't. It can't see any distance
all,
at all. It can't see
all
any light.
nonsense.
It can't see any light which doesn't directly hit it. The eye, that is.
Absolute fucking
Brian?
nonsense.
So it
Brian?
can't see any distance at all.
I can't hear you, Gem's going over you. Oh, wait a minute.
Well,
Trying
you
to
could
follow the
respond to me instead. How about that?
I couldn't hear because she was talking.
I said your eye doesn't see any distance at all. It only sees light that hits it.
Yeah.
And light
Can I
can cover
say
into the distance.
Not now, but when I had good eyesight, I could see the craters on the moon with my own eyes.
Brian,
I could
if you
make
can,
out craters.
No, you
if your
couldn't.
kids go to school saying the Earth is flat, bro, they're gonna get fucking bullied bad. They're not gonna make it
Oh,
through.
I know. I know.
They're not gonna make
I
it
know,
through
know.
school if you
I'm
tell
not
them when
being
they're
correct. There's that as well. They'll be hopelessly incorrect and misguided. Just
And
pointing that out.
unemployable. Unemployable.
And you know then, what would I do if I were in power
don't have to be
position? I would put you
employable.
in jail, Brian, because you're putting your kids through suffering and misery because
Yep.
of your dogma.
Because I'm not teaching them a lie. Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
well, no, man. That thing can be challenged very easily. You believe
What?
into it. You want to
You?
believe into it. It's a part of
Let
your
me tell you
identity.
something now, young man.
Your
You
word
cannot
is so
prove.
scary if you believe in it as in its words. You don't like
You-
space. You don't like the vastness of the universe. It makes you small. It doesn't make you special. You want to feel special. You want to feel that you're the son of God, the son of Adam. I understand it, man. You know, the world is a very scary place, and we want to have beliefs and frames to make it more comfortable to us. But you know what? That's not how the world works. Truth is not always pleasing to you, Brian.
You've just proved yourself who you are and what you are now.
Good.
You personally cannot prove Earth spins. Can you?
I can.
No. Go on then. Show me your proof of Earth spin.
My
Show
own
me your
proof?
proof of flat Earth.
Your own proof, yes.
Why should I have my
Your
own proof?
own proof. Yes, your own proof.
Wait, does it change anything?
You
If I
can't,
showed
can
you
you?
my own proof, will you be convinced?
You haven't got a proof, because there
Hold
is
on a
no
minute.
fucking proof.
If I showed it to you, I have proved it to you, would it change anything?
If it's valid, yes. But I know
If
you
it's
won't
valid,
be able
yes.
to.
So why the other people who did it? Why you haven't been convinced by them?
Because they're lying, cheating bastards like you've been conned by.
How did you know that?
Because I know, because I can't prove the fucking Earth spin, so you won't be able to prove the Earth fucking spin.
That's not logical. Just because you can't
Yes,
tell
it
me
is
how the
logical.
rocket works, it doesn't mean the rocket doesn't work. Just because I don't know how the engine of the car works, it doesn't mean you can't tell me how the engine of the car works. Just because I can't understand it and I can't prove it, it doesn't mean it's not real. So if you can't do something, that doesn't mean it's impossible. Just like many people can't do a backflip, but you can see a person doing a backflip.
Come on then, where's your proof? Find me your proof.
If you're gonna change your mind, if I do my proof, then I will do it. I will show you my proof. But if you don't agree and you're not gonna change your mind because you are a dogmatic person, then why would I do it in the first place? Because I want to understand the problem of other people's proof, why you haven't agreed with them, so I can understand what should I make up in their own experiments. What did you not like about their own experiments of proving the Earth's rotation?